Hey folks, and welcome back to another episode of your Brains Coach podcast. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm your host, I'm your Brains Coach, and it is my job here to bring to you all the best brain body tools so you could feel, look, and do your absolute best. Today, folks, as you guessed, we'll be talking about failures and what tricks your brain does onto you that doesn't allow you to go through failures fast, learn from it, and with the same enthusiasm approach the same problem to ultimately build something unique, great, amazing, something that requires a lot of effort. You know why most of the people never build something that the whole world knows about, or something truly valuable, something that solves big problem? Most people quit earlier than that happens. Not because they didn't have a good idea, not because something in the environment prevented them from building that. No, because everything that turns out to be great, everything that solves problems to a lot of people goes through a lot of iterations and changes and pivots. Now, all of us have a lot of ideas all the time, but in order to build this idea into something that the world values, something that fits into the world, that solves specific problem to specific people, something truly great, unique that, again, the world needs and appreciates, that will not come out of your head as it is. It didn't happen for Elon Musk. It didn't happen for Jeff Bezos. It didn't happen for any great entrepreneur you admire. It's just, a couple of people that popped into my mind. What they did differently is they had the idea, they put it out there in the first version, this, draft version that nobody really cared much about, or very few people cared much about. And then they failed and changed it. And they listened for feedback, and they changed it again, and they pivoted and pivoted and pivoted. And that's how they got to be these amazing businesses that shape our world, that solve a lot of problems. But a lot of entrepreneurs that I got to work with, that I got exposed through being a part of different communities in different parts of the world, what I experienced in myself is that we don't get to that point where our idea becomes valued in the world, where it becomes really great, because before that happens, there are a lot of failures and failed attempts and failed experiments from which we actually need to learn to build something better, to pivot, to redesign it, to reshape it. And that process, most entrepreneurs do not survive, and they might stumble upon something that kind of works and they just leave it there, because going through experimentation, going through one failure after another actually is quite painful, and actually your brain will try to make you quit at this point. And let me explain to you why this happens. So whenever we try something, whatever that is, like my personal example, right now, I'm going to be dedicating the whole year to challenges, this new marketing concept that help a lot of leaders, thought leaders, to build global businesses. So this week, I'm going through the trial number 1. And let me tell you, folks, I failed on almost every aspect. From, I made people sign up, but not a lot of people showed up at all. And that's the failure of my strategy, not knowing certain aspects of how to make actually people show up, how to send emails, reminders, how to keep engagement high. That is the things that I haven't trained, I wasn't good at. I always worked as one-on-one, not one-to-many, and I did not do any of successful marketing campaigns. And that's why on my first attempt, I expected, just to go smoothly and everyone just showing up and the whole first challenge just going amazingly well, right? It didn't occur to me that the success that people have with those challenges in this marketing strategy, it comes from a lot of not such successful attempts, a lot of failed experiments and a lot of learnings. But, now I know and I should have known better. But the point is, so I signed up almost 100 people. And guess what? Only 5 showed up. Now, on the second day, there were more people, but on the first day, only 5 showed up. And I was really, really frustrated. For me, it felt like a real failure, right? I expected, 10, 20 people at least, but that didn't happen. And guess what, folks? I immediately felt disappointed. I, again, felt like a failure. I felt like I just wanted to stop everything immediately and crawl under my blanket and stay there and never try challenges again. I didn't know what to do. After the challenge, the first day, I just sat there and I just couldn't do anything. I'm like, what do I do now? And the thing, what happened and what will happen to all of you when you try and fail, your brain always monitors the amount of energy that you have, that you spend, because energy is the currency of life. Energy means survival, right? In prehistoric time, during our evolution, if we didn't provide for ourselves enough energy, that meant almost certain death, right? If we didn't hunt enough, didn't gather enough, that would mean we would not have enough energy for life, quite literally. The brain didn't evolve that much, and it still monitors, and for a good reason, our energy. And whenever we try something and it fails according to our expectations, this is a very strong signal for the brain that you just wasted a bunch of energy and you have to quit immediately in order to save whatever is possible to save and to change your direction. There is actually, I read this article in Scientific American not that long ago about how quitting is actually a good survival strategy for species, because if you were the kind of animal who failed and just kept at it, and that was like your food source, for example, and you were hunting after certain animals, and you just were failing all the time, and basically what it means is you go hungry and you die. And so quitting and going after another way of getting sustenance was and is, scientists think, a winning strategy. So quitting isn't that bad, and your brain knows that. And that's why when we fail, this is the brain's first response to drop your dopamine levels, to basically make you unmotivated to continue, create this state of disappointment and lack of motivation, questioning everything. You lose energy almost immediately. Like after this failed attempt, I felt like I had literally no energy to do anything because there was no dopamine that releases that energy for action. And again, this is a survival strategy of your brain that is very natural to happen. But guess what, folks? You can override it. Even feeling this pain, this frustration, this loss of energy, of time, of financial resources, even when you feel that, you can rewire that through self-talk, through taking certain actions that will change your physiology, and you can get your motivation back up again. So what did I do after the challenge to get myself back on track, get myself motivated, and keep emailing people, messaging people, and making twice as many people to show up the next day, 10 people. So what did I do? Number one, it was later at night. So I told myself, instead of trying to make a decision right now and think about your life and business, evening is not a great time. Your brain already spent a lot of resources and you are not at your best when it comes to making decisions, when it comes to staying focused, when it comes to analyzing different options you have. So evening is never a great time to make major decision, whether to stay, whether to pivot, whether to quit, whether to continue. So what you need to do, the first thing is go to bed. That was, I think it was 8:30 p.m. I'm like, I'm just going to go to bed. And so I went to bed and I slept for like usual 8.5 hours. And I woke up and already felt much better. Because also, folks, when we sleep, our dopamine reserves are restored and we would naturally feel more optimistic. And also what happens is our emotions, the experiences of the day, the brain puts different pieces together, analyzes it, creates a better emotional evaluation of that. So we are not traumatized by stuff, but instead we learn from our experiences. The brain connects the dots, creates solutions. So if you go to bed, for example, and pose a question to your brain, you'll probably wake up with the answer to that question, or at least some possible variations of how to approach getting the answer. So when you go to sleep, a lot of things happen in your brain that make things better, feel better, look better, and you have better ideas and solutions the next day. So sleep on it actually works for many different biological reasons. So first, sleep on it. Don't make any decisions at night. And also don't stay up late. Don't watch anything. Don't eat anything. No, just go to bed. The best cure for those down low moments. And also you're not going to be making things, you're not going to be taking actions that you later will regret and that will make the next day so much harder. So I woke up and of course still remembered my failure. And I told myself, well, this is the path to success. And why I told myself that? Because I listened to other entrepreneurs, to their journey. I read their biographies. Alex Hormozi, Russell Brunson, Tim Ferriss, whoever you take, they all went through a lot of failures, through a lot of adversity, through a lot of down moments, through a lot of tough moments. And when you listen to those people, you realize that is the path to success. Trying and failing and trying again and pivoting and changing things. This is how you succeed big. Your first idea, your first draft is never great. Great pieces of literature are created by a lot of bad drafts and a lot of editing. And then the final thing is good. The same happens in business. The same happens in life. The first draft, so to speak, the first idea are never good. And again, when you listen to other entrepreneurs, when you read their biographies, when you read their blogs, when you listen to what they say about their journey, you'll hear it again and again and again and again with no exception that there were a lot of failures before they succeeded. And so I knew that, and I told myself because of that, Angela, you know that the path to success is always through failure. So this is your first failure. And actually, this is an opportunity to learn. So what can you learn from that? You gotta develop a better strategy for making people to show up. Yes, you also need to curate people better so people are actually interested and want to show up. You need to have a better job making sure that people actually receive your emails with the date, and instead of it going to spam folder or other folder, right? You need to research those strategies, and you need to send better reminders to people and on time, like an hour before, 15 minutes before, when you start, just like the rest of the people in the industry do it when they succeed. So I already started talking to myself in that manner, telling myself that this is actually the path to success, and showing to my own brain that this was not a waste of resources. This was a necessary stepping stone to my success, and if helping millions of people, making millions of dollars. So that's how you rewire. That's how you change your state from feeling like a failure to feeling like you are on the way to success. You literally have to talk yourself through this process. And again, listening to other people's story, to other entrepreneurial story, reading biographies, listening to different podcasts, to different interviews, of course, helps because you have the data. Like people who succeeded failed a lot. So if you have a goal and you fail on the way there, it's a totally normal thing. Now you have to learn from it. That's what people who succeed do. Learn from it, improve, and get back into the game, not quitting. If you believe in your idea and this is what you want to do. So again, you talk yourself through the process. What can I learn from that? How can it be a stepping stone to my success? And already you start boosting your dopamine production, because you start showing your brain the way to success, that was not a waste of time, but instead a necessary step to the bigger payoff. And payoffs and rewards is what your dopamine, the molecular motivation, want. Payoff, right? So you gotta frame your failed experiments as stepping stones to success. And in order to do that, again, you gotta figure out what can you learn from that and how you can improve. And then the second thing you need to do is change your physiology to really make that dopamine flow solid. And dopamine, again, the molecule of motivation, of drive. Without this molecule, we don't do anything. We don't have energy for action. It releases that energy for action. In animal studies, when they knock out this dopamine gene or impair somehow dopamine production, animals wouldn't even walk a few steps to eat. They were that not motivated. So dopamine is everything when it comes to action. And you can boost it through physical practices like exercise, for example, or like cold shower, or even listening to music. Eating protein also helps, because your dopamine is built from protein, specific amino acid tyrosine. So what did I do? I decided to go to the gym that morning. It was 6:30 a.m. I went to the gym because that will boost my dopamine. And plus, it creates all kinds of changes to your blood chemistry, to your brain chemistry. People who exercise after the workout, they consistently feel confident, empowered, and energized. So that's how we want to feel. That's not just dopamine. It's a lot of things that change in our body, in our brain. So I did my workout. I did my squats. I did my deadlifts, the best things for my personal that's my personal preference for my mental state, empowered mental state. So I went for a workout, and after that, I came home. I took a especially cold shower, and I actually am thinking of taking that long shower that was 5 minutes every single day, because it made me feel really, really great. And in research, again, consistent research shows that cold exposure, the best one is cold plunge or cold bath, but also cold showers work if you do it long enough, right? So 2 minutes is the minimum. What research showed. For me, it seems that 4 or 5 minutes, that what does the magic. I took cold shower and had a really great breakfast with 40 grams of protein that I got from eggs, that I got from yogurt. And after that, I listened to some great music that was inspirational, that had motivational lyrics. And music also boosts your dopamine production. And after that, I put action steps in plan. I decided to email with better email, personalized email, all of the 90 something people on my list. I decided to send personal message on WhatsApp whenever possible, personal messages on Facebook, and I got double the show up, right? So it was at least a little bit more than 10%. Now, of course, that could be even better if I did better marketing strategy, if I created a more an offer that was speaking to people, making them want to attend and make them think that they're going to miss out. And this is something really important. So I need to work on my copy. I need to work on a lot of things. But that, failed attempt, without which I would not know what I needed to work on exactly. So, burnout proof tech founder, it worked to sign up 100 people, but then those people did not show up. So maybe I needed to have a different message to help people to understand that this can positively transform their lives. So that's again my self-talk. So I looked at what I needed to improve. I took action and emailed people. I doubled the show up. So that was a success experiment. And now I have data to do better on the next challenge. And once I framed it this way, my brain was happy. it released dopamine, and it gave me motivation and energy to continue pursuing this goal that by the end of the year, I want to help, well, if not million people, but I want to have $1 million made over the course of the year. So that's it. That's how you transform your failed attempts into successful businesses. And again, I think the most important part that you all want to understand, folks, is especially if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a self-starter, whether you decide to write a book, whether you decide to run a piece of content, like create a 90-second video for TikTok, whatever that is, a failed attempt is not the time to quit. Not in most cases. Failed attempt is a time to learn, to pivot, to tweak things, and to put a better experiment in place to ultimately improve and achieve your goal and create the kind of idea that the world wants and needs and that makes you successful. All of the successful entrepreneurs who you admire, they went through this journey. They stuck with it. They changed it as many times as needed. They dealt with failure in a positive way, framing it as a stepping stone to their success. They did things like workouts, like good sleep, like good nutrition. They figured out a way how to boost their own dopamine, their drive molecule to take action, to keep taking action, no matter how many failed attempts they had, keep changing, keep reiterating, so they ultimately achieve the goal and build their vision. And this is exactly what you want to do, what you have to do. You have to learn how to tweak your brain, how to tweak your self-talk, how to, again, boost your dopamine levels, to get after it through as many failed experiments as needed. And like Thomas Edison said, right? I didn't fail 10,000 times to create my electric light bulb. I just figured out 10,000 ways how it didn't work. And I was 10,000 attempts closer to figuring out the thing that worked. And that's exactly how entrepreneurship works, how anything really in life works that requires effort, that is complex. So if you just failed, first of all, have a good night of sleep. And second of all, start reframing, start boosting your dopamine with exercise, cold plunges, and eating protein, with motivational talks, biographies, and music. And ultimately, you will succeed. Again, failed attempts are stepping stones to success. If you learn from them, if you improve, if you get better, if you change things, and you keep going, tweaking and pivoting until success. That's about it, folks. I hope you found this episode very useful, and I brought my personal experience that just happened, and in a hope that it will help you to see, to illustrate in your mind how to address failed attempts from mental and physical perspective, so you get your drive back, so you get your motivation back to continue no matter what, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets. Let me know what you thought about this episode. And folks, of course, don't forget to share this episode with as many entrepreneurs and founders and self-starters as possible, so they keep going. Because, let's be honest, it's hard when you work on your thing and you're by yourself or in your own head most of the time, just tweaking and thinking of things. It is hard. So share this episode, talk about that, support each other. Let me know also if you like this episode. It also helps me to do my work better and to keep at it day after day, week after week, month after month. So share, give me feedback. And if you're failing, learn from it, keep going, boost your dopamine, and you'll succeed.